Most of the time when I prepare for the homily for the weekend, I focus probably 80% of the time on the gospel. And every so often I might reflect a little bit on one of the readings or connect the two if I can. But rarely do I ever preach on the responsorial psalm. No offense to Brad and company, but I don't really normally focus on that. But this week when I was looking at the scriptures, this responsorial psalm, the verse jumped out at me. And I'll try to explain why. And the verse is this: Lord, let your face shine upon us. Let your face shine upon us. And it got me thinking about how, as human beings, our facial expressions can often speak 100 words, 1,000 words. My mother sometimes with one look could decide for me my fate in eternity. But there's something about facial expressions that we can radiate. It can be perhaps a smile, or a frown, or a lack of eye contact, kind of looking away, or our teens are really good at this, the rolling of eyes. They tell us a great deal about what another person may be thinking as they encounter us. And it says a lot. Or often these nonverbal facial expressions have a message. I am so glad to see you. Might be one of those messages, and a big smile is opened up. Or I'm in a bad mood. Step aside. Or what do you want? I'm busy. I hope this is really important because I'm real busy right now. And I hope, too, that as we deal with whatever it is, we have to, I'm really sorry that we have to talk about this now, And so there's many messages that come from facial expressions. And so I wondered what kinds of facial expressions Jesus witnessed when he appeared before the disciples in today's gospel. Recall that this was just after the resurrection, and they had all gone through that incredible, difficult week, which we call Holy Week, in which Jesus was crucified, he was beaten, he was betrayed by his apostles, he was mocked, he was put before civil authority, and all kinds of things. And so all of this had to be going on in the minds of the disciples. And so I'm guessing that what Jesus could have seen was that some of them greeted him with their mouths wide open in shock. Oh my God, he's alive. We thought he was dead. We thought he was gone. We never really believed this resurrection stuff. And their mouths must have been wide open. I imagine others lowered their heads in shame and embarrassment. Oh boy. I bet he remembers that I hid. I bet he remembers that I betrayed him. I bet he remembers that I denied him 3 times. There were probably others who expressed with their eyes how much they wanted to be forgiven. They felt terrible, but they loved Jesus. They really did, and they were looking, hopefully, expressing through their look, Lord, I am so sorry. Forgive me. Now, how about Jesus? What did his facial expression say to the disciples? I went to my cell phone, which I rarely do. If I didn't have to have a phone, I would be a happy camper. But I went to my cell phone and I said, okay, I'm going to pick out an emoji that might best express the look on the face of Jesus. And this is the one I got. Because I really believe Jesus would have greeted them with a great big smile. He would have been a huge smile. Because Jesus truly had to be glad to be reunited again with his closest followers. After all, he spent 3 years with them, eating with them, probably a snort or two with them, walking with them, preaching with them, experiencing miracles, listening to his teachings, observing all kinds of new things. Jesus had to be happy to be with them again. He had to smile too by looking at the looks on their faces. You guys really feel bad, don't you? You really feel bad, you know. And I think Jesus sort of took a little joy in that. That's okay. He had to smile too to see their relief at seeing him alive, because they did love him. And so there was all kinds of expressions that they could have had. And Jesus had to smile too, knowing that the stumbling and weakened followers would become his instruments for spreading the message of forgiveness and hope in the early church. Jesus had to smile and say, I know you guys are going to finally get it together. Took a lot of patience on my part, but I know you're going to get it together. I know you're going to go out to the world and evangelize, and you're going to bring the good news. So when we think of Jesus, I suggest in our thoughts and prayers, maybe we ought to ask the question, what kind of facial expression do we picture Jesus having with us? Would he be frowning, rolling his eyes, looking away from us? Or, what I'm convinced of, would we see Jesus smiling at us and saying, you're my children. I created you. Oh, I know you mess up, but I'm like a father. I got a lot of patience. I know that some good can come out of this. And so Jesus, I believe, would truly have that big smile. In the gospel, Jesus greets the disciples with words of peace. And he asks that wonderful question, what are you troubled about? You look really upset, you guys. What are you troubled about? Jesus doesn't want us to be troubled. Jesus doesn't want us to be filled with guilt. Jesus doesn't want us to feel like we've always let him down or let down someone else around us. He wants us to be filled with peace. That's why when he went into the room, it was the first words he said, peace be with you. In your prayers and meditation during this week, and my prayers and meditation this week, maybe we can reflect on these beautiful words that we found in the responsorial psalm. Lord, let your face, your smile, look upon us, shine upon us. And as we do, maybe we can experience that presence of Jesus, smiling and saying, I do really love you. And so I suggest we reflect on these words from the psalm. Lord, let your face shine upon us. Relieve me when I am in distress. Have pity on me and hear my prayer. The Lord will hear me when I call upon him. The Lord will put gladness into my heart. As soon as I lie down, I fall peacefully asleep. For you alone, our Lord, bring security to my heart and to my dwelling.